Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you happen to be in the world. It's really nice to be introducing this session. This is Stewart Mealaw, by the way, on the organising committee this year for my sins, standing in for Teresa, really. But it's really nice to start this session because that means we have the first 24 hours of the iMoot out of the way now. I shouldn't say out of the way. It's been an absolute pleasure. Lots of really fascinating sessions so far. And it's my pleasure to introduce for this session Adam Lossing, who's over in Canada. And he's going to talk about the Moodle Glossary activity. And I'm so pleased to see a session on the Glossary because we teach people all the time, and it's amazing how often people will find perhaps just one way to use the Glossary, and yet it's such an incredibly powerful and flexible tool within Moodle. It's great to see Adam sharing his experience and knowledge here, and I actually really wanted to see this session, so I'm doubly pleased that I'm introducing it. So Adam, we've set the session to record. It's time to start, so over to you.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Stuart. And I'm also equally excited to be presenting and sharing my experiences with the glossary. So let's just jump into it here. So there's a few things that I think that the glossary can be used for, and one ways of making it media rich. So the production of sound files and publishing them to an entry, locating or producing the images, and having them embodying the meaning of the concept. And that's coming from my experience in teaching language in Moodle. So when terms get more abstract, that part becomes a little bit more difficult. And then locating or producing video. Most people have a video camera on their phone, so it's really accessible to be producing video at this time. And then also promoting the use of the whole glossary by offering quizzes on random entries. And this is kind of getting into the nuts and bolts and making this thing sort of grind into learning. So and then reviewing random entries to promote rigor, and incorporating the use of the glossary items in other activities so that the exposure gets widened in authentic contexts. So and then the last piece is just being cognizant of what's going into the glossary and highlighting their use whenever they come up, either in conversation or in other activities. Okay, so my sense of what glossary entries can be like is that each entry can be like a web page. There's very little limitation as to what you can do with it. And so I like to encourage students to build them from that kind of perspective. Okay, so one example that I've done here is in the demo glossary, which I'm hoping that we'll get a chance to work on together with, is just simply a sound file here that's reading what you see here in text. And so you're accessing those various modes of learning. And so, and then another piece is that I was just able to link to YouTube video, and it displays quite nicely like this, which was quite a surprise. I haven't done that for a while. And then an HTML link here to, URL to the actual description of the assignment module, which this piece is about. Okay, so now I'm going to dive a little bit into some of the pieces that are very useful for students in being able to produce this work. Oftentimes, sound production can be a bit of a barrier And so I'm going to go through a free download called Audacity, and mostly because it's free, and the fact that it is easy to use and has rich functionality. So I've shared a couple of links in the chat box there, and I might just do it again just in case. And so they're there now again. And as with many of these pages, there's misleading downloads. So don't go to this one. Download from this link here. Okay, that button. And then you'll also need a couple of encoders. I refer to it as Lammy. I'm not sure how anybody else pronounces it. But if you want to export the work from Audacity as an MP3 file, you'll need to download that file. And then if you want to strip sound off of a video file, then you can use this file to do that. So you just open a video file in Audacity, and it strips off the sounds. It's kind of a useful tool. Okay, and then recording and exporting an MP3 from Audacity. It's just important to know that when you save, it's a native file, and so you won't be able to use it in anything other than Audacity, and that you need to export it. And that'll be after you get those previously mentioned, after you get these files loaded up. Okay, so, and then to edit, I think that this is probably pretty clear to everybody in the room. It's just you bring up your editor, and I'm not sure when this came in, but you got to click on this little button here to get the second row of functionality in the editor up. But you just need to click on the media button, and then that will take you to this page or this pop up here. And so browsing to repositories, you can go any route that you want. My practice is to go from my own computer, but I know there's lots of other ways of doing it. So, and then once you've got it in there, then it'll appear like this in the editor, which can be a little bit off-putting because it doesn't look like you expect it to be. But once you save and go back to the entry in the glossary, you'll see that the Moodle Player, the media player, shows up. And so you just click on there, and off you go and listen to it. Okay. So essentially, I've done the same thing here and just read what is there in text. Good for language learners to read and listen at the same time. Okay, so and then using images, I like to try and make the Moodle courses visually stimulating as possible. And so I've put an image here that I just pulled off of a Google image search, and then try to honor the owner of the image with a link below it, and then the entry describing the chat there. Okay, and then the same thing goes with using video. You can insert that into entries as well. So, and then the idea then is to recycle the work in the glossary in as many authentic activities as possible. And I think that in any kind of reading, writing, speaking, or listening task, those can be brought in, and then as was mentioned before, in quizzes, and then also in presentations. So just making sure there's a focus on that those terms, and so that they're being recycled as often as possible. I think it needs to appear with a learner at least 7 times before they actually have any chance of acquiring them. Okay, so now this is a little bit of a challenge here. Taking a bit of a risk, and asking people in the room if they wouldn't mind going to the demo glossary and populating it with an entry. And so the instructions are over here in terms of choosing a term. Choose one that has a letter that is in your first name, And then, so that's our random selection method. And then I'd like you to take the opportunity to create a media-rich entry in the demo glossary, and then return in 10 minutes, which would be 2:21 on my clock. So that's, I'm just going to do a screen share here and get that up. Should work. This. I have it up here. And there it is. Okay, so you should be shortly, I think. Oh no, there's a button that shows up somewhere. This is a little challenging. I don't see it showing up here. I had problems with if there's someone, a tech person still in the room, I'm not sure what happens here with the screen share.
Which browser are you using, Adam?
Firefox.
Okay, so that's the best one to actually be using. So screen sharing. Are you actually seeing the screen share on your monitor?
Well, I'm not seeing it on the preview.
Okay, so
and when I futzed around with it just before the presentation, there was a little circle with arrows on it and a little button below it that I clicked on, but I don't see that showing up this time. So that was necessary. Okay. Nope. If I go full screen, oh, there it is. Okay, I think I've got it now. You're there. Okay. I think we're
there you
good
go.
now.
Fantastic. Yeah, good.
Okay. So now I've got both screens up here, and you can see that I have put in an entry for activity, and you'll see that they're all, I think most of the native ones are listed here. So there's assignments and chat, and then all these ones have been left undone. So the glossary can be, it's set up so that there's multiple entries possible. So that's not going to be an issue if you don't have. And you know what? I might nominate. So there's William there. You got a couple of W's there, right? And then Tim has got nothing but TIM. So maybe if I can I nominate Tim to do, I'm just going to go through the list then because the number of people here is not that large. So Tim, would you do choice? And then Paula, if you're willing, database. And we've got two Paulas. Okay. All right. So how do I expand that? I'm scrolling. There. Paula debates. Okay, and then there's Paula Clo. Yeah. External tool. And Mary, if you're still in the room there, feedback. And Joshua forum. And Jen's. Oh, we won't do glossary. Let's do lesson. Lesson's very cool. And then is that Anna? Do quiz. And I'm not sure if Stewart wants to participate, but he could do SCORM if he wants to. Oh, it's actually got an S as well. Okay, so make it 10:25 for people to take a shot at that and just see what the participants do in the glossary. So I'm just going to have it up here and be going through the entries as people take a shot at it. So and feel free to raise your hand for a question in here. I can do that. and help you along the way with some entries. And so just kind of get some practice with it, what you see so far. Oh, Paula, I got your name right. Yeah, that's good. All right, choice entries created. Tim's got the, wow, he's lightning fast. Okay, so let me just refresh this page and see. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. Excellent. Look at that. It's just firing through. Okay, so Japanese word. Okay, that's interesting. So I want to challenge you guys just a little bit further and see if you are willing to go in. I'm just going to choose choice here and click the edit button, and then see if you are willing to use any of this kind of functionality, and specifically the picture and the media piece, and expanding, I guess, the interactivity or the media rich aspect of your entry. Okay, I'm just going to go back. Okay, so I'm just going to change the zoom, see a bit more of things. And now, one thing that I didn't point out is that you can browse by date and by author here. And then this is just the default setup is by alphabet. If I click on all, I get everything. And so I'm just going to refresh and come back to the session, the live session. See what's happening. Let me get that up. Oh, okay. So Anna's there. Anna, I need to get you with an entry. Let's see. So I'm just going back up here. What's my list here? There we go. Okay. So it's down here. Survey. Anna, you can do survey. Just scrolling through. Okay, what entry to create? Okay, Tim. Tim, are you okay? Have you got I just reading Mary's comment about, I always say Lammy, but I guess it's lame. It's kind of odd. So just want to make sure I've got Tim going there. I forget which one. Tim, if you could just text. Oh boy, I've got a lot going on here. Oh, Tim, I'm not going to remove your rubbish one. That's fine. Paula, I'm having a hard time finding the glossary on the course page. Okay. Oh, good. Tim, you did choice. Okay. And I can just help Paula with the finding the glossary. Okay, on the course page. So there, and there's the course page there, and it is right here, demo glossary. Okay, it's in with all the underneath the funny Pillsbury people. Okay, so you can tell where I am. So and let's see. Let me go back here. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit funny. Okay, good. Okay, so it sounds like most people have had a chance to. Squirm's done. Okay, good, Stewart. Okay, so let's just have a look at what we got in here. So I'm going to go back to the glossary. And let's see what we got. Okay, so choice. Ah, there we go. Okay. Tell how visual I am. I love to see pictures. So, okay, yeah, forum. Okay, yeah, that's good. And then multimedia. Scorm, yes. Shareable content. Yes. Okay. And so just waiting for some of these other. Just hold on. I think sure I've got. Yeah, I think I've got all of them here. I'll just show you how to browse by author here, just while we're doing this. So that's me. I did activity in chat. And then that got it was supposed to be activity, right? But then I expanded some of them while I was working on this. Okay. Joshua's done forum. Good. Let's see. And images coming in from Stewart and Tim. Okay. So that's really what I'm just going to go back to my presentation here and talk a little bit about just what I just as a bit of a recap here. So not sure if I can go home here. Back through to my first slide. Okay, so if people did have sound, I'd like to invite you to, if you have sound editing capacity, then I'd like to invite you to support your glossary entry with a sound file. Okay, and if you've got the capacity to work with YouTube video, like connection to a YouTube account, then I'd also like to invite you to play with that and just use all of the different aspects of that editor to see just how full you can make a glossary entry. Okay, so I'm just going to go back. Well, I can also mention if you're working on, I'm not sure, on Apple, I think it's, I forget what the sound editor is called there, something Garage. But on Windows, there is always the sound editor, and it just the challenge with it, I think, is there's about a minute limitation on the length of recording that you can do. So for most of this work, it's fine, but I just thought I'd bring in Audacity there just because it's such a rich tool to be working with. So there, you can just see it there, that if I started to record here, just it records away, and then it would stop after a minute. So I'm just doing my thing. Let's stop recording, and then it'll want me to save somewhere, and then I can play back. So it's for Windows users, it's a pretty easy thing to access. So yeah, give that a shot, guys, and see how that works for you, and just work with the sound in the video and see if we can get that worked in there. So I'm just going to go back to the glossary and refresh. Woo! All right, there you go. Excellent. So Anna's got a video in there. That's awesome. And yeah, oh, we're getting there. That's cool. So and then you know, when students have this kind of control over the production of the learning content, I think that my experience has been that they get quite excited about that. So um, um, that I was more concerned that I was going to be a bit short here. I'm just going to go back to the chat box and see if there's any questions. Somebody raise their hand. Nobody's raising their hand. So that seems to be the extent of the chat. So Stewart, are you still there? I think I'm a little bit pulling up a bit short in terms of my presentation here, and the participation has been good. Just know if we should go any further with this in terms of encouraging people.
Hi, Adam. Yep. I mean, I think I can see that most people are managing to navigate to the course and to insert some resources at least. I guess a bit challenging maybe if some people are at work in terms of recording audio or anything like that. But
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, I think it's good, and I don't know if that's if you're gonna summarize or move on now, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, that I was just I think I've done my summary. I've got my first slide up here. So just in terms of the rich media that can be built into a glossary entry, and getting students to use all the resources that they have producing that kind of media. That was what I wanted to present today, and encourage people to think of glossary entries as kind of like web pages.
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely, and thank you for that, Adam. What we'll do is we'll leave the session going for a few minutes so people can ask questions, probably in the chat area. And I think that is a good point, is that so many people will just use a glossary for a simple definition, whereas in fact it can be used for so much more, as you say, with audio or with images or with linking to a YouTube video, all sorts of things. And I've not thought of it before as being a web page, but you're absolutely right. Of course, it is a very nice sort of self-contained web page that you can produce within Moodle. So that's good. So thank you so much. That's been really interesting, and we'll leave the session going for a short time so people can ask questions.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so there's been some progress on the external tool. I'm just going to play Paula's file here. Cool. Good job, Paula. All right. Oh, and there's another one here from Stewart. Cool. Oh, that's very good. Okay. I should know what that song is, but I won't ponder it too long. Jeez. Anyways. Yeah, cool. Okay, good job. And an animated GIF here with pick a number. Well, that's quite interesting. So can I really click that and pick a number? No. Okay. Okay, so here we go. My name is. What's this?
My name is Anne Krijger.
Ah, okay. Chat. Let's see. Um, okay. Yeah, but it is. There you go. All right.